Hey everybody, just give me a second. I'll get in front of the camera. We had an issue with the audio this morning. I'm just trying not to replicate it. It was a little trickier than I thought. So 2 minutes and I'm sure we'll be on and live and all that good stuff. You're on YouTube, you're here. Must be on YouTube because I don't see anybody on Zoom, but that's okay. Well, I hope you're having a great day out there. It is Tuesday, April 14th, 2020. A full month into quarantine mode right now. So the only way we're getting better right now is training with ourselves, or if you're lucky enough to be quarantined with somebody else that also trains, hey, great for you to have a body to work around with. If you look at some of the videos we have, man, I had a great video on training with some partner that doesn't train jiu-jitsu. Hopefully we can get him to train jiu-jitsu. As this kind of goes down, as I get somebody that I'm willing to work with or somebody that I can work with on that, I'll probably do some of that type of training. Won't be my wife, I'll tell you that much. For us, you, me, folks are online right now, folks will watch us later on. I'm going to go ahead and run through our basic warm-up routines. You can go ahead and do those together. You'll have somebody to keep pace with you. A little bit of basic solo technique, both solo movement drills that we can do without any equipment. And then I'm going to bring my old friend in, the Bosu ball, the yoga ball, Swiss ball, whatever you want to call it. I'll show you a couple of new drills on that. Right now, it's the first day back in a while. I just want to go ahead and kind of decompress. I'll start off kind of relaxed right now. Big deep breaths in through my nose. Exhale through my mouth. Inhale through my nose. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Let's go ahead and reach up. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Just want to go ahead and start slowly moving around. I don't know about you. It's the first time I've kind of moved in a while. Let's go. Slight bend to our knees. We'll just go ahead and torso twist. Just keep breathing. In through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Just go side to side, torso twist. Just move around. Try to get a full rotation on. I'm the old man of this group right here. I'm the instructor. I'm going nice and slow to start off with. Go with a slight knee bend right here. And we'll go ahead and use torso twist. Look up towards the stage. Should move that stretch to a little different spot. Good. Let's move to rotator cuffs. Arms out straight, palms up. Start with small circles. Gradually build up big, whirly, loopy motions this way. Just nice and relaxed. Do the same thing, go backwards. Nice, big, swoopy, whirly motions. That's good. Feet together, knees together, hands above the knees. Start with forward backward motion. Let's go ahead and do a circular motion right now. Again, your knees don't actually rotate. This is my ankles and my hips. I'm keeping my balance, protecting against shearing motion or drilling against that. Go clockwise, counterclockwise on your own. Switch directions a few times. Let's keep up that breath in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Nice. Let's go ahead and just nice big circles on your head and neck. Start with the chin to your chest. Pull your ear to your shoulder, look up. Ear to the opposite shoulder, back down. Go ahead and go clockwise and counterclockwise. Back and forth, left and right, side to side, big circles. Just get a full range of motion, move in different directions. Heck, even if you're sitting there watching me on your couch, on your desk, or whatever, go ahead and do these neck motions with me. All right, great. Let's move on to air squats. Feet, shoulders apart, toes pointed basically forward. Go ahead, keep your posture good, your shoulders over your hips. I'm gonna stay down, and I guess I'll count them out too. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 20, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, good. Let's go ahead and drop into push-ups. Once again, we'll do these in sets of 20. Again, man, go easy on these. Good form, good posture, keep my core intact, shoulders over hands. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And parachuters. Hips into the mat, arms outstretched, legs outstretched. Hips on the ground, head up, shoulders back, legs up. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And in the middle is next. Good core strength. Start up here, flat on your back. Big deep breath in through your nose. Come up, reach between your feet, abdominal crunch. Small back, touching the mat. Hold your tail smooth through your mouth. Don't hold your breath. Air, back down. Big deep breath in through your nose. Repeat the process. Do about 30 more seconds, please. Don't care about the quantity, care more about the quality. Quite frankly, I can hold this for a long period of time. But right now, I'm just going on my breath. As you breathe, move your diaphragm up and down. Try to get as much air in and out of your lungs as possible. Another 10 seconds. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do 20 ups. Remember, as I do my ups, it's going to be explosive. My core goes up. So my shoulders, my traps, go my head, my neck. My feet always kick a little bit away from myself. We'll go ahead and count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Fall out of neck exercises. We'll count them out, but I'll tell you the routine. 20 chin to chest, 20 chin to each shoulder, 20 ear to each shoulder. If you can make it through that rotation without having your head touch the mat, you're doing pretty well. We'll count them out together. I'll go nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now chin to each shoulder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And ear to each shoulder. In these cases, 2 equals 1. Keep again. If your head doesn't touch the mat, awesome for you. We'll go ahead and count these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Awesome. Over the shoulder bridges. That's where we bring our feet in close to our body. We'll push off the ground, lift up our hips, reach up and over the tops of our clavicle and collarbones. Not on the sides of our arms. Again, my arms are not actually on the ground. So on the tops of my collarbones, you see how I'm arching back. You see how well I stay connected to the ground, from the ground to my feet, from my knees to my hips, up and over my collarbones, up and over my shoulders. Getting on the ground, fighting not because I like being on the ground, because I know how to use the ground, I know how to focus on the ground, and I know frame off the ground, I know how to smash it into the ground. That's what makes me a ground fighter. At your own pace, you're doing great. Alternate left and right. Breathe. It's one of the first things I have to tell people. Surprise. Next, let's go ahead and do some streamers. Explained a few ones before. You'll just follow along at this point. Core engaged, hips relaxed. Pull your toes into your Jiu Jitsu feet. Let's go ahead and start paddling inwards right now. Again, your core is intact, core is strong. Black guard's dead guard, but you let your hips relax. Go ahead, put some speed in this. Pull your toes back so you're going Jiu Jitsu feet on this. Don't let your feet flop all the way around. Keep some strength in your calf and your ankles. Switch directions, paddle out. The easier this feels to you, the more I'll work your guard. And again, I used to sit there watching TV when I was a white belt and blue belt, just doing this all day long. Switch, or at least the duration of the program. Sitting there watching me, you can go ahead and do that. You turn this off, you watch Tiger King or whatever it is kids watch these days. Switch. Give yourself a little bit of an exercise, a little bit of a drill. Prove your guard by yourself. Switch. Say that. Switch. 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 Good. All right. I can do this full lengthways, but I'm going to do it with you in place. We're going to go ahead and just do hip escapes in place. We'll do them about 30 seconds. Again, if you haven't seen it before, I'm well connected to the ground. I'm a ground pilot. It's not because I like being on the ground. I know how to use the ground. Heel my foot on the ground, ball my foot on the ground. Turn to my side. Variation when you're doing the solo in place is instead of scooping your hips back, kind of lift your hips up, pull yourself in. You won't make it too much of a space here. Again, connect. Turn your side, toes pointed to the ground always. Push with my bent leg, lifting my hips up, scoot those hips up and back a little bit, and pull my knee to my chest. I'm just gonna go ahead, get back and forth in place, just like that. There we go, let's try to get rhythm right now. Try to stay on your side each time you do this. When you're on your side, it's easy. Although, I'll admit, if I'm not going in place, I usually don't like to put weight on my shoulder. I usually like to scoot back. There's a difference between this motion and the other motion. Let's go back and forth. Couple more seconds of this, you got it. Going. Doing great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. There we go. That's a pretty good warm-up right there. Go ahead, fix your gis if you have it. If you're not wearing a gi, don't worry about it. Again, I'll say this. I wear my gi right now because I miss wearing my gi. I don't have too many occasions, even though most of you have seen me 99% of the time in a gi. 99% of my time this last month without it. So I feel more comfortable about this. I realize that these classes are as much for me as they are for you. It's about establishing some sense of normalcy, some sense of routine, just counting down the days. Of course, it's a moving target, we're not sure when, but counting down the days when we get back to a little bit more normal to be able to interact in a more kind of mode with each other, in a more personal setting, shall we say. Okay, very good. I've actually broken out the sweat a little bit. In all fairness, it is warm in here right now. April, Southern California, we say it's screwy, but shoot, how can we complain? We get two weathers. Warm, not so warm, occasionally it gets wet. We don't really get seasons in that if you happen to be watching from someplace outside of California, someplace before. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna do these drills on the Bosu ball. This particular drill, I keep saying Bosu ball. Bosu ball is one that's half ball, remember. Yoga ball or Swiss ball. I actually like to say Swiss ball, okay? Well, we're gonna go ahead and cover weight distributing pressure, how to train and use this thing and treat it as if it was an opponent, okay? Or a partner, or some movement drill, something we can work with, okay? Now, a little bit of an explanation right now, okay? I've said this one a few times before. If you rewind, if you look at some of the videos, if you've been to my classes, you know I tend to repeat things a lot, okay? And the reason why I like repeating things a lot is because I like certain things drilled into your head. I like certain things that you know the answer to before I even say it. I want you to kind of say these things along with me. I want these ingrained in your head. I want the good fundamentals really drilled in there. Strong fundamentals, okay, will lead to good jiu-jitsu, will lead to more advanced techniques. But you're not gonna be able to do any of that without good, solid fundamentals, okay? So the way I'm seated right now, good, strong fundamental. What am I doing? I'm seated with good posture, okay? Posture, the definition of it is alignment of shoulders and hips and how well I'm breathing to the ground, okay? And my balance, okay? I can say right now, the way I'm seated, okay? I have good posture, my shoulders, my hips, and I really want to feel my weight bearing below the ground, okay? Like I imagine like in a tent spike, I do my movements from my hips and my core, and I'll be more rock solid in this. Usually we're in this state, usually in this stance, if you will, okay? When we're going ahead and working inside somebody's guard. Somebody closes a guard on me, better have good posture. If I can maintain my posture, if I can be strong here, because guards are relatively neutral position, all things considered, but if I can maintain a good posture, I'll reward in three ways. I'm safer against my opponent's attack, I'm in a better situation or better position to pass guard, and although I don't have a lot of attacks, I have more attacks off of this. If I'm floppy, if I'm falling over in place, my posture's terrible, then the exact opposite is true for the person on the bottom, for my opponent, the one holding guard. They are safer against my attacks. They are safer against me passing the guard that's actually positioned, and they're in a much better position to attack themselves, okay? So we want to go ahead and have good posture. That's one thing that I always kind of emphasize. Again, the broken record, but needs to be drilled in your head. Something else I'm going to drill into your head, aside from the safety position finish, aside from the emphasis of good posture, is any technique, any position that I do, should be positioned that I do any technique. I always get that word mixed up, okay? But anything I ever do, I look at through this filter. What does my core do? What does my legs do? What do my arms do? Okay, again, that order, I'll repeat it again. Core, then legs, then arms, okay? Think about this in descending order. Your core, and hold it tight, should be the strongest part of your body. It's certainly the largest part, certainly the part that everybody wants to develop. Your legs are there for support. They're certainly strong. And your arms, I'm not saying they're weak, okay? But they are the least part of the chain right there, okay? Now, I'm not saying that anytime I have a question, I should say, I always go through that order. Anytime I'm not sure what I'm doing, I look at focus on core, then legs, then arms, okay? But learning how to work a technique, learning how to work a position, there I go reversing again, is learning how to use everything core to you. What does everything do? But it does always go in that order. That will make me stronger in most cases. Okay. Now, going back to how I deal with the core. Okay. Core, this whole torso right here. Okay. This whole area right here. I'll go ahead and say when I go ahead and work towards the hips, I tend to work more at the corners as opposed to the center. If I'm working at the corners, if I'm working towards the hips, we'll call it low. Okay. That could be a low guard. That could be low mount, low side control, low back control. People don't really say, but there is a difference. And if I go high, if I work up to the shoulders, I'm working high. Repeating myself here. Okay, your high guards, your high mounts, etc., etc. Low and high. Okay. As a matter of a rule of thumb, it's not 100% true, but you can think about it this way. Low tends to be easier to get to. It tends to be easier to maintain, but oftentimes it's the expense of offensive capabilities. Okay. Whereas when I work high up towards the shoulders, it tends to be harder to get to, tends to be harder to maintain. But if I know what I'm doing there, I tend to have greater offensive capabilities in there. And that's a rule of thumb, and sometimes it's not true, like I before C except after E or something like that, or I before E except after C. Whatever. It's a good rule of thumb. And when I teach things, like I like rule of thumbs, like there's no such thing as necessarily as an absolute in jiu-jitsu. You have to know certain fundamentals, you have to know certain basics and rules on things to go, and eventually you might be able to break them after you have a good thorough understanding of that, okay? But I like to think of fundamentals. They're important, but they are a rule of thumb generally, okay? But you have to understand what you're doing, you have to understand your control points, you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing in order for this to make sense. Now, going back to that low and high aspect right there, again, saying this torso is a big area. When I go ahead and put my weight on something, let's say on this Bosu ball right now, if my weight's all spread out on my chest, if my weight's evenly distributed between my shoulders and my hips right now, I'm actually not that heavy, okay? I'm not that effective. Heck, I'm not even that mobile right now. This isn't really making the ball uncomfortable. Not that the ball has feelings, if you're underneath me right now. This wouldn't feel so terrible when I spread my weight out on you right now, okay? I like to go ahead and pick targets on myself. I always think of the self first before I think about my opponents. This is a wonderful opportunity to do this. Where do I want to be heavy? Where do I want to focus my mass and my weight? And what's my concentration on? Is it low or is it high? Okay, in this case on the ball, we're going to go ahead and work low. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and drive my hips into the ball right here. Okay, I'm just kind of sprawled out. I'm driving through. I'm aiming for my hip bones right now. But of course, I'm never heavy just because I'm floating on top of the ball. If I'm here, I'm actually not that heavy. Okay, I'm a ground fighter. I'm heavy because I know how to use the ground. Okay, I know how to frame off the ground and use this as my ally. I also know how to use the ground as a weapon and smash people into this, or smash this ball into this. And this is a perfect example. Okay, so I'm going ahead and I'm connected to the ground via my feet. I'm just driving the balls of my feet on the ground. I like to grab my toes into the mat right now as we're at it. And again, to be heavy, it's from the ground through my feet, through my legs, through my hip. Okay, back through the ball, back through the ground, almost like I'm trying to burst the ball with my hip bone right here. Okay, and I have to have some bony hip bones right here. Okay. If you go ahead and just kind of start patting yourself here, sometimes I'll use my knuckles. Part where you're not going to be happy to hit yourself, the hardest part, the hip bone right here, that's where I'm going to go ahead and aim for right there. The tip of the pelvis technically is what I'm doing. But actually, when I do this drill, I'm only going to go on one hip bone. Okay. Give you this view right now. See it? It's very subtle, okay? And that you can see this through the camera, but you can see this through your arm right now. I'm really just driving on with my left hip at this point, okay? So it's from the ground, through my foot, through my body, okay, through my hip, rather, into the ball, into the ground. Again, when I say it's subtle, you notice that both feet are connected to the ground. I'm connected with both feet to the ground, therefore I'm grounded in two places so I can feel heavier in that sense. A lot of times when people drive on one hip, they'll try to make this turn, okay, over here. I lost some weight right now. I'm not too connected on my bottom leg. My top leg isn't connected at all. Because I'm not connected to the ground, the circuit's broken. I can't be that heavy at that point. So when I do this, I'm being very heavy right now. Again, both feet connected to the ground right now. From the ground to my foot, through my legs, through my hip, in this case my left hip, and I'm just driving in and being into the ball right now. Okay, And I imagine this is my opponent, and I'm driving through. I always try to smash right through my opponent when I'm putting this pressure on. Okay, taking my hands off. So I'm really just focusing on my weight on my hip at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand behind my back right now, just so I can go ahead and move around and figure out how to keep the pressure. Okay, you can go ahead and make a slight dip, a slight turn. I want to move from left hip to right hip. And again, this is subtle. When I make this motion, I go from my left hip to my right hip. Notice my feet stay connected. I'm driving through it still from the ground to my feet, to my knees, to my hips. Okay, or my hip in this case, my right hip. Very little to change, very little how to move it. Okay, go ahead and do that again. Shift over to my left side. Driving off the ground. So I'm really gripping under the mat with my toes when I do this. I'm really going ahead and trying to use every bit of leverage and visualizing myself, pushing off the ground, pushing through my body, into my opponent's body, back into the ground. Okay, that is, I don't want to call it a secret to being heavy and knowing how to use weight distribution. But that is a great start right there. So going ahead and just subtle shifts back and forth. When I do this subtle shift back and forth, whenever I have to make a motion, okay, if I'm heavy when my left hip is connected and I'm heavy when my right hip is connected, I do not want to take off a lot of weight when I'm making that transition, if at all, okay? I just kind of roll along my hip bones, along my belt line is what we'll call it. We'll say it's right about here. It's technically below my, I'll just go ahead and just roll back and forth with control, point to point, hip to hip on this. Again, subtle motions right there, but you do have to move in jiu-jitsu, but I never want to give anybody that sense of relief that, oh, he's moving off of me right now, and I don't feel that way, and it's my opportunity to move or escape, okay? That would be bad. I only want that pressure to get worse. I only want you to feel more pressure and more agony and more suffering. And then when you think it's lightened up, no, I'm just thinking of ways of increasing it or making it more dangerous, but it never comes off. And this is a good start for all of this. And I can do this on fall, which doesn't have any feelings. Again, you'll see I'll make the switch. It's very subtle, very subtle, very subtle, very subtle. Okay. Each time, I am literally trying to pop the ball with my hip in this case. I don't think I actually will. This thing is underinflated to the point where this is easy for me. Not intentionally either. It's just after some time being here and people sitting and kicking, whatever they do to the balls, they deflate and then I got to fill them up again. But right now, this is kind of the perfect motion. I'm just kind of moving side to side, just very subtle motions, okay? One of the things about jiu-jitsu is what we do. A lot of it's subtle. A lot of this is going to be really hard to convey over the computer like this, okay? Which is why you need to come into an academy. You need to work with somebody. You honestly need to feel it. Sometimes even seeing in person is a lot different than actually feeling it. But sometimes there's a lot of little subtle things going on, okay? Now, in terms of other subtle things we can have right now, I'm going to do this drill with the ball. But hey, if you have a partner at home with you, you can actually do this drill with a partner right now, okay? So instead of the ball, or if you can, you're going to have somebody simulate a ball by going into what we call the turtle position. Okay? And in the turtle position, very simply, it's just one person on the bottom, kind of curled up in a ball, kind of like a turtle, like so. This is a turtle, okay? We're working on the top because that's what we're going to do to get the ball. So if you're on the bottom, you want to go ahead and have your hands by your side. You never want to crash your hands in the turtle. You make yourself much more vulnerable to things. Keep your hands on the same side. Go ahead and kind of curl up as tight as you can. You don't really want to give any space in between your elbow, knee, and shoulder and hip, okay? You're sitting back, hips over heels in this case. I tend to go with the tops of my feet into the ground right there. Although if you have some flexibility, sometimes you can go toes in the ground. Actually, in this case, and I'm very low, I'm very compact right there. I'm turtled up and imagining like, turtle's a weird kind of thing. Maybe it's more like an armadillo where I ball up. And theoretically, I'm much less vulnerable here from a grappling standpoint. If you wanted to stand up a soccer technique here, I guess this would be a terrible position to be in. But nonetheless, the turtle position is something that's pretty well done. Curl up and get into a ball right here. And even if you're slow right now, you can go ahead. Just imagine how small you can make yourself right there. I'm the oldest of 5. When I was a kid, I used to trick my younger brothers and seeing how small that they could get. Like I tell them, like, go in this position. We didn't call it the turtle back then. Just go ahead and curl up and see if you can. Whoever can be the smallest could win.
And then I put a laundry basket on top of them and then sit on it, or put some books on it and leave them that way. It was one of my favorite things to do. So imagine you're just trying to make yourself as small as possible for this drop, okay? Just going ahead and being low. Imagine you can fit into a laundry basket. I need a pretty big laundry basket for that these days, but there we are, okay? Now that you have a partner doing that or somebody doing this, if you have a partner that's doing this, if you're on top, I want you to find their hip bones. Again, if you knew where your hip bone was on yourself, the bony part of your hip here, you should be able to find that on your partner, okay? The boniest part of them. And now what you're gonna go ahead and do, now that you found the boniest part of your partner, hip bone right here, I'm gonna go ahead and place my hip bone on them, or I'm gonna use the ball simulation since that's what I have. And I'm gonna go ahead, point to point, tip to tip, and drive in and make this connection, okay? When I say tip to tip on this though, I don't wanna be tip to tip like this. Okay, come a little bit closer on this angle right here, because that's not any putting any weight on. I'm just kind of resting on the side and pushing into them right there. You're not gonna feel any weight here. I'll imagine if their hip and their pelvis is here when they're down on the ground, I'm gonna be a little bit over the top and driving down in this fashion this way, okay? So there'll be that grounding right now, okay? Imagining this ball as a hip, imagine this as a person, but I can actually do this drill with somebody, okay? Or with the ball. I'm going ahead and making this connection hip bone to hip bone, but I'm slightly over the top right now, and I'm driving down in a diagonal fashion this way so it goes from the ground, okay? Remember, I'm never heavy just because I'm floating on top of you. I'm heavy because how I'm connected to the ground. And in this case, you can see it from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through this ball, to the other side of the ball, and back down into the ground again, okay? Once again, I'm gonna go ahead and try to really pop the ball on this sense. Now, starting here from my right side, okay? If you look at this, I like to go ahead and keep my toes pointed outwards, the heel of my foot on the ground, the ball of my foot on the ground. I like to be well connected most of the time when I'm here. Okay, so I'm solid so I can go ahead and push off. Okay, so I like this kind of angle right here. And speaking of angles, I like to go ahead and make this, my leg, my calf and my thigh at a 90-degree angle. I actually like these 90-degree angles a lot, okay? When at rest, when I'm trying to figure things out, I tend to like 90 degrees with my legs. Why? If I'm too far extended, then I don't have any place else to go. And if I'm too close in, well, this doesn't seem to be great either. So toes away from myself. I like this leg at a right angle right there. And I'll visualize from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through this ball, or my opponent's hip, diagonally downwards, into the ball and back into the ground again. Okay? So we have this line going through here. Now, with this hand, or this arm right here, okay, on the far side, to keep this ball from sliding away from me, and it very well could, or to keep my opponent from scooting away, or my partner, we're working with partners to be out right here. I like to go ahead and tuck my arm to the opposite side. I lead with my elbow as opposed to my hand this way. So I'm tucking my elbow in right now, okay? My hand it's not necessarily floating out this way, but I'm making this squeeze in between my elbow, the ball, my hip, and I'm having this squeeze right here. Okay, even though the pressure from my hip is actually going downwards. This hand is here to reinforce. It's making sure that the ball doesn't go flying away from me, to make sure that my opponent doesn't escape out this way. Okay, and I want to feel heavy here. Okay, you can do this on the opposite side. Roll it over here. And again, I'm just going to find my spot from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, back into the ground with my elbow locking the place in. And, oh, forgot to mention this near leg. I like my leg to be kind of back this way when I do this. My right leg, this leg right here, okay? It gives me better balance. I'm not roping, doing some kind of rodeo. If my feet are out front right now, I actually have less balance. My foot isn't connected to the ground that well. Can't see this from the shot. If I was to roll back, nothing's stopping me right now, okay? Instead, I'm going ahead and making this boom, boom, and you can see this leg goes backwards right now, toes touching the ground right there. I don't put a lot of weight on this back leg right here. Most of the position comes from here with my near leg, okay, my right leg, which is that right angle right there. So I can kind of be back, toes kind of driving in. But it's more of an insurance. It just helps me keep my balance better than I would have balance from here. Okay, I like these connections to the ground. Okay. being heavy and smashing into this, really trying to pop this ball with my hip. Another angle on this right here. Here. Ground through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, back into the ground again. I would say through my opponent's hips, but I don't have an opponent, I have a ball. Go ahead, switch sides. From the ground through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, back into the ground again, squishing through right here. And being heavy. Notice, I actually tend to lift my head up, my shoulders are back when I do this. If I hunch down, my weight is spread out across my chest. I'm not heavy at this point right there. Or rather, my weight's spread out and it doesn't feel that bad. Okay, I'm being here, I'm driving my hip into this ball like a nail, driving across right there, concentrating all of my mass to one point right here. I love this quote, I've said this 1,000 times, directly off of Hal Gracie. If you take a book, take 100 pounds, spread it over the space of the book, put it on somebody's chest, it doesn't feel that bad. Take those same 100 pounds, put it on top of a nail, put it on somebody's chest, it's gonna feel awful. I'm always trying to be that nail. And honestly, health, maybe $1.80 these days, maybe less, depending on how much he's been eating lately. Health to this day at this size, that size, feels heavier than anybody I've ever felt on top of me, okay? I fear no top pressure after having dealt with him for years or having felt him on top, not even when he's trying this. And a lot of people say the same thing about me, that they can feel that I'm being heavy, even when I'm not trying to be. Sometimes I'm intentionally trying to be light, and I still sometimes try to feel heavy. But let me tell you, there's always good to have goals and aspirations and things that you're chasing right there, okay? And one of the things 24, 25 years into training right now that I'm always still trying to chase is top pressure. How can I just be a little bit heavier? It goes back into that subtle talk right there. Sometimes we'll see these big motions or these big moves or big techniques. Now, if you can make me 1% more efficient on my weight distribution, you can make me 1% heavier than where I'm at, aside from eating a lot, I guess. But if you give me a 1% better understanding of weight distribution, I'm a very happy guy at that point. Okay, so I really, really like to focus on those things. And again, even if you had a partner right there, some types of pressures, like the side control pressures, which we'll use the dummies on at some point. I know Trevor was doing that. Sometimes you'll let up a little bit. It's like, oh, I don't want to squish my opponent. They're crying a little bit too much. You're too heavy. I don't feel bad about putting hip pressure on people. I don't feel bad about connecting and driving and putting that weight on my hip on folks. I don't care who you are right there. Your hip is hard, you drive through, you'll be uncomfortable. Hey, you're also uncomfortable, you have the opportunity to tap out. But even if I'm working with somebody a lot smaller than myself, and for some reason I have a crisis of consciousness and decide I'm not going to be that heavy on my chest, because those are the ones that really take the breath out of folks, maybe potentially injure them. In fact, I want to squash your ribs. And that can be intentional and unintentional on that. There's not that same consequence to throwing your weight on your hips on those cases, okay? You'll make them uncomfortable, you'll secure your position a lot better, you'll keep them from moving around. I'm not gonna say there's zero risk for an injury on this, because you can never say that, but it's a much grade lower than say the top pressure. And sometimes, based on what I'm dealing with, I make the decision of how to put my pressure on folks, hip or shoulder, low or high, based sometimes if I feel like a bully or not, okay? But if I'm gonna put pressure on you, I'm going to put pressure on you. Yeah, this is a good one to drill. I'm just gonna concentrate and be as heavy as I can. I'm literally trying to pop the ball with this. So I'm staying very secure, I'm rock solid. Even though this ball, does have the ability to move around. Once I get control of this, once I'm on it, it is not going anywhere. Okay, it's not going anywhere unless I tell it to go someplace. Which is a good attitude to have about Jiu Jitsu too, about your Jiu Jitsu is, you're gonna have to ask me permission to move. And I'll grant it if I feel like it. I'll grant it if it's to my advantage on this point. But I don't have this thought that you're moving around that I have to deal with your movement. Like a lot of my Jiu Jitsu is removing my opponent's movement. It's removing my opponent's options. Okay. Questions on that? Nobody on the Zoom right now? I don't know who's on YouTube right now. I should do a little bit of check and see who's on. But I'm gonna do that right now. A lot of motorcycles are riding by. You can probably hear that in the background. Now we got essentially 2 drills down. I like combining drills, okay? There's always a method to my madness. There's always, I like to show things, I like to kind of put things together. So what we're gonna go ahead and try to do is put together the last mode was called a hip ride or hip ride on the turtle. So that kind of teetering and going back and forth, okay? This is where we start learning how to treat this like an opponent, to move around this, treat this like an opponent. So I'm connected, start off and go back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Nice and subtle motion to start off with. And then what I can go ahead and do is I continue to make this turn. I'm going to come out to a hip ride right now. From the ground to my foot, to my knee, to my hip, through the ball, back into the ground. Okay, I'm driving through. Okay, so I controlled that. The ball didn't move. I stayed in control this entire time. Okay, look, I can go ahead and swing and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I can go ahead and make my switch and make my transition back into a hip ride right here. Okay. Notice again, I'm connected to the ground. I have the same control points that I did when I moved into it carefully, but I can get into this position, this hip ride position, hold on to the ball fairly quickly. Okay. Back. Move around. Boom. I'll go ahead, move out to the side. Again, from the ground to my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through the ball, holding on tight, back into the ground again. Okay. And go ahead, kind of move back and forth, and just practice. Just making my motions bigger right now than what we started from here. Okay. What we started from here. Okay. Going ahead, making these controls. Again, I move around the ball. I'm the master of the ball. I'm the master of my opponent. I'm the master of my motion. And part of what makes me the master of this right now is I know exactly where my weight's going each time. And not only do I know exactly where my weight's going each time, around here, I know exactly what makes me the most effective in each way. I know what my starting point is, my finishing point. It's a real subtle one right here. Okay. Just gonna treat this as a bullet point. Boom, holding it tight. Getting some balance on this. This is tough to start off with, take some practice. I'll tell you what though. If you deflate the ball a little bit, it's easier to do. The more you deflate this ball, okay, you don't want like a full compression, pressure on this. So a little bit of give makes this motion a little bit easier. Back and forth, back and forth. Notice if I decide I'm going to go ahead and move to my right side, I start off with my left hip more connected. My right hip's up. And that's because eventually when I go out to the hip ride, it's my left hip which is going to go ahead and be connected. If I try to do this with my right hip and then slide that off, I'm not going to have any control of this. So that's an important concept right there. When I do this turn, if I move to the left, I'm actually on my right hip bone when I do this. If I move to my right, I'm on my left hip bone that does this. Okay? And I'm making my motions that way. Okay? So learning how to master this ball, how to master myself actually is more of the thing right there. Ball's an inanimate object right here. It doesn't really have anything to do. It's right there other than being there. I'm not worried about what it does. It's predictable. Okay? We control this. Okay? It's how I move myself, how comfortable I am in making these motions right here. How much I can treat this like an opponent. Okay? You'll see really high level grapplers when they pass. Okay? Doesn't even matter what their opponent's doing, or it seems like it actually does quite a bit. They're in such control of their body, okay, they can move around and do what they want to. They have such a good body control, they have such a spatial awareness, such good control of their weight distributions. They're just gonna go ahead and circle around and move as they want to move because they're in control of themselves, okay? For some homework, two really great examples of competitors that do that. Jeff Glover, when he works his passing, when he works his top game, he does have a good top game. Does that really well. He actually had from Budo videos a whole series of drills when he just uses the ball. You can go ahead and look that up. Another person I think about that does this well, that did this well in competition, is Andre Galvan. There's a really famous clip of Andre Galvan essentially breakdancing on top of somebody that tried to reap him in a tournament. There's a long story behind that, but Andre Galvan just basically dances around until he finishes him off. Like sometimes the worst thing a black belt can do isn't, or a high level person, isn't submitting you over and over and over again. That's what they're supposed to do. And there's no shame in getting submitted. Okay, that there's it's part of the game. Usually somebody's going to. That's what we're aiming for. There's no shame in that. But in this particular clip, Andre Galvan made this person look like he didn't belong there. As it turns out, the guy didn't really belong there at that skill level. But Andre Galvan's capable of making very good black belts look the same way. Okay, so that's our drill for the day. That's how we're going to work. It's just moving around and focusing on the ball right here. Okay, so we talked about core, as I always talk about. We talked about low hip pressure. We talked about and learned how to get good and be heavy on your hips on somebody. Okay, again, if you don't have a partner, get one of these balls. These are a great opportunity to do this. Okay, if you do have a partner, okay, you can go ahead and hit this hip right on them. Okay. You know, aside from what sounds they're making and like, you know, there's always good to get feedback when you have a partner. The ball's not going to tell me how heavy I am. A partner can tell you how heavy you are. But you'll also look for a misalignment on the body. Right now, if I want to be secure, I'm going to have my hips directly over my heels, and I'm going to ready to kind of like coil strand and move. If you shift and push somebody so their hips are misaligned with their heels this way, okay, that's taking away my good connection to the ground. Look, if I want to get up, I have to right myself. Okay, so it's taking away my good connection to the ground, okay, and therefore makes me less effective. And I realize what I'm going to do is, I know a lot of us have made gummies at home, so I'm just going to pull my friend Kevin over here. My friend Kevin. Dragging this thing, it's easier to lose. Here. Okay. You can practice the same type of weight distribution, same type of hip right on either a dummy or your opponent, just a little bit more on the ground. Okay. Okay. The only difference is when I do this is I'm going from the ground to my foot to my knee to my hip, because in this case my leg's going to be forward. Okay. It's a little bit difficult to do this with my leg back, although I can. But here. Same basic principle of how I'm connected with my hip. How I'm driving my hip into my partner's hip. Bony's part of it. He doesn't have bones. Everything's kind of the same density, but I'm aiming for the hip. Quite frankly, after doing this for years and years and years, I'm pretty good at aiming that spot. I can find that on you pretty much from the ground, through my foot, through my knee, through my hip, through my opponent's hip, into the ground, and of course, never just tip to tip. Going slightly downwards, driving in that way, trying to be heavy that way. Again, it's that subtle little thing, okay? The heavier you can be, if you think of, I can go ahead and have better control of my body, okay? How do you get better control of your body? Well, you build it up, you get better core strength, you do the basic warm-up exercises, you take good care of yourself, you watch your diet, et cetera, et cetera. You start in good control of yourself. After all, this game is about controlling people. How are you going to control anybody if you don't have good control of yourself? Okay, but once we have that control point right there, okay, once we know how to control it, then we can be more specific. We can dial it in. Okay, how do I get my weight to a specific spot? In this case, my hips. How do I aim and get it to a specific spot on my opponent? And maybe you're not ready for that, or you don't have the tools or the person at your disposal right there. Okay, there's always things you can do to improve yourself. Okay, regardless of your circumstances. Okay, I'm fortunate enough. I have a large mat space. I got a lot of technical skill. I got a couple of tools right here. I can get along just fine right now. Okay, people will come up under far worse circumstances, although maybe not less strange. These are strange times, right? Okay, so just some drills, just some things, just some basic things to think about basic hip pressure. Okay, basic movement. Right on. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go through the cool down now. I always think whenever I do anything, I need to start, a middle, and an end. Okay. You know, I need Just when I start off something, I go ahead and go through it, but I have to have an end point there too. Okay, that goes well with my drills and techniques usually. Okay, like I want a starting point and an ending point on each of those techniques. I like to drill and I have to have habits. I don't want to stop halfway through I do something. I might develop a bad habit on this. Okay, and kind of likewise, I like that closure thing too, like a beginning, a middle, and an end. When I work out, I like a warm up. I like to do my techniques and move around and do what I said I was going to do, and I like a cool down. I think all three of those components are important to get the most out of your session right there. Okay, so I'm just going to do a very basic cool down right now. I've done these before, but I like them. Start off with cat and cow stretches. Shoulders over hands, hips over knees, big deep breaths in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. As you inhale through your nose, your diaphragm goes down to the ground. You look like a cow, but really all your diaphragm does is go down. Notice my arms, my legs don't move. As I exhale through my mouth, pull my diaphragm in, cat stretch, just really arching my back. Cat, cow. I read an article recently that this was like one of the best exercises for your back, particularly if you're a jiu-jitsu person. Maybe I inserted a jiu-jitsu person myself. They said out of all the yoga motions you can do, all stretches, basic cat and cows are one of the best. Let's go ahead and pointer dog, opposite arm, opposite leg, finger to the heel, reach out, stretch, extend. I like to hold this on the breath, even though I don't do things on my breath. I train. It just gives me this nice pace. Opposite arm, opposite leg, finger to the heel. Stretch, elongate, feel up here. Let's go downward dog. Hips go up, head goes down, lock at your elbows, lock at your knees. So I was practicing on this. I'm a little bit behind this weekend, but I am lengthening and stretching my hamstring. In this quarantine, I'm gonna be able to touch my toes. Watch. The upward dog, touch your feet back, head back. And keep your hands on the mat, hit back over heels, chop it. I like to feel good after I come in and train. Like, there's times and places where I'm gonna come in and work out and be sore, be tired, and quite frankly, beat up going against another person. That doesn't always have to be the case. I have to know I worked, okay? There's a fine line on that. I need to be pushed. But soreness doesn't necessarily equal accomplishment. Just remember that. You do one more. So the lower back stretch. Start off with your chest and ground, really kind of spread out, your arms are out, stretch right here. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, let me flat on my stomach right here. So I take my right leg and lead her over my left. Kind of keep my hands, my palms touching the ground when I do this. I'm gonna turn my head in the opposite way. I'll hold it for another couple of seconds. Let gravity take its course here. Then I'll make a switch. And this is just kind of moving my lower back in a different direction right now. My shoulder and chest. Good at this. In through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Switch. I can do two on each side when I do this drill. And switch. So, you haven't fixed your keys, fix your belts. Presentable. My want versus need gear. I don't know which line this one is. And they all have names and batches. This one's a little on the heavier side, but I like this for an everyday comp, everyday training gear. wantversusneed.com, I think. There you go. All right, thanks so much for tuning in or watching this broadcast. We'll keep broadcasting as long as we're still under shelter in place right there. But as soon as we're out of shelter in place, I honestly can't wait to see all of them. I'm going crazy with this. But thanks so much for being here, tuning in. Love you all. See you next time.